Hey guys, my name is Adam. I'm originally from the United States. I've been living in Israel for the last 4 years, and I started traveling the world about 6 months ago. Southeast Asia, Philippines, Vietnam, Thailand, Laos, and now I find myself in India with my trusted buddy Thumper. And we got another 5 months to go in India, so I'm really excited for that.
And where did you come from on the bike?
Came from North India originally, landed in Delhi, and then I flew directly to Ladakh. And from there I romped around a little bit and started gradually coming south. The goal is to get to Goa before January.
And you said you were in Ladakh. How long were you in Ladakh, and what was that like?
I was in Ladakh for about 2 weeks. It's amazing, unreal scenery. It's the power of the Himalayas makes you feel so small, you know?
Yeah. How was the ride coming down?
The ride's crazy, man. It's really bumpy. There are no such thing as asphalt roads, you know. It's all chopped up, and you gotta go real slow.
With high cliffs and...
High cliffs everywhere, man. The roads are cut into the side of the mountain. So, you know, you're driving on the left side of the road here. If you're driving with the mountain on your right side and you're coming around a corner, you don't know if you're going to be making it out alive. You know, they come flying around those corners, and if they're polite, they'll honk at you before they come. They don't even, they don't bring down any speed or anything like that and just shoot you right off the cliff.
Was there any flooding going on when you were riding?
When I was riding, no, there wasn't flooding, but there's a lot of landslides that I ran into, actually.
Landslides, yeah.
Yeah, it's like little pebbles, like I don't know. They just kind of start falling off the mountain, and they just don't stop for sometimes half an hour. You know, they just completely cover the road.
And in Ladakh, what did you do? Did you go to Kashmir too, or just?
No, I wasn't able to make it up to Kashmir, but I did do a loop of 4 days up north of Ladakh. You pass from Leh itself. You go over the pass.
And that's one of the highest. That's one of the highest road passes, right?
It's probably. I think it is the highest road pass. It's like 5,300 meters, I think. Something ridiculous. And you get up there and you feel like your head's expanding. You know, your eyes are popping out of your head. So you saw some people that were riding bikes up there, like bicycles. I don't even know how to do that.
And did you have a passenger with you, or were you riding?
At that point, no. At that point, I was still renting a bike. I wasn't really sure on which one I wanted to buy. Before I got to India, I knew I wanted to travel India on a motorbike, but I didn't want to be too impulsive with my buy. So I was testing out this one, that one, yada yada yada, and I was doing mainly on a rented bike up there, yeah.
A rental, and then this bike you purchased.
This bike I purchased in Manali, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what? So you came down to Manali, and well, first of all, in Ladakh, did some people go and do a Vipassana meditation type retreat? Were you interested in anything like that up there, or was it strictly just
I've always been interested in it, but when I was up there, I was so captivated by the mountains that I didn't really, I didn't put aside any time to do any of that. And so I planned on doing most of that stuff here in Rishikesh, and the yoga, the meditation, maybe a Vipassana retreat, even though I heard that up in the Himalayas, it's unparalleled. It's the power of the mountains is just, it's unreal.
And then in Rishikesh, what are you doing? What are you experiencing here?
Rishikesh is a conjuration of all the water that's coming out of the mountains of the Himalayas, and it goes into the Ganga River. The Ganga River is extremely, extremely spiritually valuable to these Indians here. And everything in this general area of Rishikesh is just, it's so pure. You know, it's, for example, it's a dry city. There's no alcohol anywhere, and there's just endless yoga seminars of all different types of yoga everywhere. And meditation, and it's a place to find yourself. It's a place to open up.
Nice.
You know.
And you've been here how long? You said
in Rishikesh for 5 days.
5. Okay, really recent.
I think I'm gonna stay here for about another week, maybe.
But it's not your first time in India, right?
It is my first time.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Yeah, it is my first time in India.
Okay.
Yeah, not my last. Sure.
Great.
Yeah.
And is there a motorcycle experience you could share that? Anything that just.
Everything in India is kind of, it's not based on the same standards as the Western world, you know what I mean? So you get here and you're expecting things to work absolutely, fixed,
right.
And you get surprised by a lot of things, I mean, I personally spent the better part of a month looking for a good motorcycle to buy, and it was fine when I was with it before I did my first long drive, and then on my long drive, I had so many problems. My back brake broke while I was driving, locked up my wheel at 60 kilometers an hour, and I was like fishtailing down the road. Luckily, I was okay. I got hit by a Tata truck, hit me in the rack back here, made the ass of the bike fly out, and just kind of dumped it in the middle of the road. And it just catches you by surprise, but you learn really quick after that kind of stuff.
You recommend people who've never ridden a bike to attempt to learn in India? I've met a few people who've done that.
It depends on your personality. It depends on how daring you are. It depends on how good your health insurance is. But no, yeah, sure. If you're feeling adventurous enough, you only live once.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the worst thing to do is get to a point in your life where you say, why didn't I do something? Why? Sure, I sat behind a desk for the last 40 years. I have enough money to keep myself comfortable and my kids comfortable, but man, I didn't experience anything, So
yeah.
I think that's very important, actually. I think it's something that's missing in this world.
And can you talk a little bit about growing up and what changed your perspective, if at all? I'm sure it has, but what brought you to where you're at?
Well, I grew up in a cattle ranch out in the middle of nowhere, New Mexico, the United States. I lived there for about 14 years. I mean, literally in the middle of nowhere. The closest city that had a hospital and an airport was about 3.5 hours driving away on a highway. So I had a very, very isolated childhood. And after that, I moved to a city in Tucson, Arizona, and I was there for my high school career and the little bit of college that I did. And I just couldn't help but feel that the educational process in the United States was not fitting for me. Me personally, I felt like they were shoving my face into books with a vice grip, and I just can't concentrate. And learning should be something that you love to do. It's part of human instinct, it's part of human nature to want to learn something. So I was looking for ways to, to flower, ways to feel excited, passionate about something. And I was guiding trips and climbs, backpacking in the western United States for the better part of about 3 or 4 years. And then I decided to just randomly move to Israel and join the army at age 22, 23. And that completely shocked my reality, So I served in the army for 2 years. And then after that, it's part of the cultural norm for Israelis when they're released from the army to go travel the world. And that's not an idea that would have even popped into my head when I was living in the United States. It's you tell somebody, I'm going to go travel the world for 6 months, and they're saying, oh, cool, what are you going to do? Are you going to be a teacher? Are you going to do this? What are you going to do? It's like, there's no such thing as just traveling to travel. So it's not even an idea that, that came across my mind. And now that I understand how free it is, I can't believe I didn't do this before. It's the most eye-opening experience I've had. You learn so much about yourself. Whenever you're not, when you're in the routine of what you choose to do for yourself, then you start questioning, what do I really want? What am I expecting from life? I still don't really know, but I think I'm on the right path.
Nice.
Yeah.
And family, do they miss you? Do they encourage you to travel, or do they travel?
Sure. My dad traveled the world for the better part of his younger life until he was about 45 and met my mother. He was all over the world. My mother is still traveling to this day. It takes a month trip in the middle of the year. Sometimes she goes to Africa. She's been to India twice already. She's been all over the world. She's got energy, So maybe I get it from them too. And
just to go back a minute, it's interesting what you told me about how your father was looking for a place. He always his dream was to have a ranch.
Yeah.
Can you go into that a little bit?
Sure. Namaste. My dad was born in Chicago. He was born and raised in the city life. He was the only one in his family that was looking to get out of it, And he was trying to find himself in outdoor recreation, therapy kind of stuff, back in the day where climbing was just starting to come out. And he was working in all these companies, and it just wasn't fulfilling enough for him. But he knew he didn't want a desk job. He didn't want to live in the city. And he had this dream of starting a ranch somewhere. So he met my mother at age 45, and they got married, moved to the United States, and bought a ranch out in the middle of nowhere. And they've been there for the last 25 years. It's something that still amazes me to this day. None of them had any prior experience, and they are sitting there, very, very stably and very happy with what they've created,
And from Rishikesh, where are you headed?
Rishikesh, the grand plan is to start heading south. We're thinking about maybe going to Kasar Devi, which is it's about 350 kilometers east of here, still in the same province of Uttarakhand in India. Sounds like an interesting place. It's got a history with the 1960s, 70s hippie movement, so you could see some washed up hippies there or something.
And India's not all about hippies, right?
No.
Hold on. Okay, and then so you're headed south
Headed south
by motorcycle.
by motorcycle. Yeah. I mean, we're so released here that we don't have a grand plan. Wherever the bike takes us, on the impulsive decision of wake up that day, it's like, oh, I feel like leaving Rishikesh, then that's when it's going to happen. The freedom that comes with the motorcycle is just unparalleled. It really is. You can go wherever you want. Wherever you want.
Well, let's go now.
Let's go whenever you want, wherever you want.
Yeah. And then after India?
After India, it seems like it could be either go back to Israel or maybe I'll extend. I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no idea. Still have a long time to think about that.
And what kind of work you were working before? What were you doing before?
Before I started traveling, I was in the army in Israel.
I mean, like were you?
I was to save money from traveling. I was a mountain bike mechanic in southern Israel,
Nice.
and that was an awesome job. It's kind of fell on me from above. So
Yeah.
it was like it's a hobby, and I love all the technical work, and it's something I'm probably going to be going back to as well. Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing. And if there's one word to describe India, it may sound a little cliche, but what would you?
One word.
One word or one phrase?
One phrase. More emotionally intelligent than any other country I've ever come across.
That was great.
Sure.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Namaste.